Good morning. It is Friday. In the last Cherries match, we didn't have the result we wanted, did we? But it's okay. We've got Liverpool coming up. That's going to be an easy one, isn't it? I've got Jeff Hayward here with me. Jeff, how are you?
Pretty good, Sam.
And this morning, Eddie Howe had his usual press conference. So here's what he had to say. Okay, so firstly, team news. He was asked about who's ready and who isn't. David Brooks, Arnaud Danjuma, Chris Mepham, they're not back training with the group yet. However, Lloyd Kelly has, though, trained. On David Brooks, who has seemed to be a massive boost once he does come back, Eddie said, I hope he can be integrated into training quite soon, in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Therefore, it was a bit optimistic when us and other fans were thinking that he might be named on the bench. Obviously, 2-2 against Chelsea was a decent result for AFC Bournemouth. Not many fans were expecting much, but Eddie said we were lifted by our performance. Says over the last 5 games, there's been a massive uplift in creating chances and the attacking side of the game has improved. Ahead of Liverpool, though, it's described as the ultimate test. Now, of course, Harry Wilson, Liverpool is his parent club, so he's not going to be around. And Eddie said, it's a blow for us. But when you take the lone player, you know what's going to happen in those 2 games. Liverpool, of course, have been on a bit of a bad run of form recently, but even still, most people are seeing it as a free hit. But does Eddie? He said no. I don't see any game as a free hit. We go there with the expectation to perform and to win. Our expectations of ourselves are very high. We have to have the belief that we can win this game, but every player is going to have to excel. Now, one club that did manage to turn over Liverpool, of course, was Watford. And on that, Mr. Howe said, we look at all games from across the Premier League and learn things from them. The most important quality is the belief that we can do it. Now, there's a bit of controversy this weekend. Well, maybe not controversy with the handshakes and coronavirus. And Eddie said, I back the Premier League and their guidelines. He said, is there an impact on preparation? Absolutely not. Says there have been measures put in place to stop the flow of people around the stadium/training ground. And also he was asked about Eric Dyer. There was a bit of an incident with regards to what happened going in and confronting one of his own supporters after Spurs got knocked out of the cup to Norwich. Eddie said it's very easy to focus on the reaction of the player. Of course, we don't want to see players or coaches confronting fans in that way. I think it's an opportunity to look at it and review what is acceptable and what isn't. Now, with regards to Liverpool, there has been a lot of praise that has been heaped on Jurgen Klopp, and Eddie's been very impressed. He said, I think that's been the standout quality, the fact that they've been able to reproduce that. He praised their motivation and ability to repeat the performances week in, week out. So then on Saturday, Cherries travel to Anfield in a match where no one's really expecting anything. Jeff, are you?
Well, which team is on a poor run of form? 2 defeats in a row, and with they've also got injury issues. The manager must be under pressure. Yeah. It's not us, it's them, isn't it?
I was chatting to you this morning. I was chatting to Jacob from the WD18 Watford Fans channel. He's a buddy. He's actually at Bournemouth University doing multimedia journalism, so it's good to chat to him. And he said about that Liverpool game, like, it was unbelievable. But I've been watching some YouTube content and the Red Men TV that I've been on their channel before, and also the Anfield Wrap as well. They were utterly pissed off with Liverpool's performance, and you watch it on Match of the Day. They barely forged any chances at all. Did you see what kind of side they had out?
Well, they were playing the Fab Three, weren't they?
Wow.
It was Oxlade-Chamberlain, Fabinho in the middle. Alexander-Arnold and Robertson were playing, but Alexander-Arnold was counted the number of times he overhit crosses, which is unlike him, and he gave away the second goal. I think was down to him messing it up. So Yeah, it's a difficult time for Liverpool. They're going to be playing Atletico Madrid after us. They know they've got a tough job on their hands to overturn that. They're going to be expecting to beat us. They're
expecting to beat Watford. I mean, was it complacency, do you think? And because I've said when I was on the Redmen TV earlier this year, before the reverse fixture at the Vitality, I said that this season Jurgen Klopp seems to have instilled this steeliness mentally, and they seem to have a never say die attitude. And there have been matches recently where they've been going close. That West Ham one, my goodness, but they managed to claw it back and win 3-2 thanks to Mo Salah, etc. But they're going to be wanting to put the wrongs right, aren't they? And what better side to do it against than lowly AFC Bournemouth in the relegation zone? It's going to be a hell of a result, even if we get a point in it.
It will be. The betting man is going to say 3-0, 4-0 minimum. However, it is going to be interesting to see what side they pick. And they're still, what are they, 20 points clear in the league still? So they're not in any danger of losing that title. But
you say, it'd be interesting to see what side they put out. It'd be interesting to see what side we put out. Not least Jefferson Lerma. What would you do with him? Because he's obviously, a game away from a booking. We ideally don't want him out for the subsequent match, but then would we have a chance of getting anything at Liverpool without him? It's a difficult mental equation for Eddie Howe to deal with.
Yeah, I might be inclined to rest him, because I would rather he plays in the Palace game, and if he gets booked in that, I mean, he misses 2 games. That's the thing. We've got to think about which 2 games do we want him to miss, and maybe the 2 after Palace might be the ones where he's rested.
Yeah, I just think
it's tough.
When you got Liverpool's midfielders who are fast, they're dynamic, they play very quickly, it's very easy to mistime a challenge. It would be much easier to get in the book against them. And then if we did lose him for that Palace game, I think it would be catastrophic, and we need him for it. Part of me thinks he needs to be benched at Liverpool, and maybe bring Dan Gosling back in, put Lewis Cook in alongside with Philip Billing. I mean, formation wise, what would the plan be? Go 4-5-1?
Yeah, he may even go 5-4-1. He may even just bring Frano into that.
True, good point.
Play 3 centre halves and really try and hang on for a 0-0 from the start. I just don't think we're particularly good when we play that sort of 3 centre halves line up.
Perhaps we just need to go Stacey, Rico, Simpson, Frano, Cook, Ake, Smith. Have everyone back there. Bring Chris Mepham back, even if why not?
What's that? That's an 8-0-2, isn't it?
Yeah, like an 8-1-1 or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's horrible, and it's going to be very difficult to deal with. But as you say, the Premier League is won despite that loss to Watford. It's won. The Champions League is not, and that's a massive game for them. I've got a feeling we might see the likes of Divock Origi, who may be playing, perhaps even Adam Lallana, players like that, Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean, obviously these are all quality players, but you'll always have. Whichever Liverpool side you're up against, there's always going to be quality there. But we've thought this before against them, though, where Liverpool have come down and we thought, maybe they'll be looking ahead to their Champions League match or whatever more important match they've got in the forthcoming future, and then they go out and put a world either side. So slightly nervous about what's going to happen.
I would also add to that one of the reasons that Liverpool are having a bit of a dip now is because, from a rotation perspective, Klopp does not rotate that team often enough. So they are getting tired. They're getting tired, key injuries, and that's having an effect on them. The fact that they didn't create a single chance against Atletico Madrid and barely anything against Watford, I think speaks volumes for the fact that they're running a bit on empty. So maybe he does need to rotate it a bit, and that might serve us better. Who knows?
Did you watch the West Ham match when they played at Anfield? Because no one was expecting West Ham to pick up anything. But yeah, they were flagging Liverpool, and West Ham, Liverpool took the lead. West Ham equalised. West Ham then went ahead, and then really when you look at it, they're actually quite unlucky. I thought they played really nice, expansive football. They managed to get the ball between the lines quite a lot. Liverpool just weren't as aggressive as they usually are, and they are a team that can be got at. So maybe these performances, Eddie Howe's going to be reviewing the tapes, and it's going to be picking spots where he thinks that we could perhaps make some inroads. I'm actually quite excited about it.
Well, I never thought I'd say these words, but tactical genius David Moyes, what he did was he got the West Ham wingers to track Robertson and Alexander-Arnold pretty much all night, made it really difficult for them to do the damage they normally do. So maybe Eddie will do a similar thing, although I'm not sure we've quite got the same energy levels and our sort of wingers. But obviously Harry Wilson won't play either. We should point that out. So
yeah, that's going to make team selection a little bit, I say, easier for Eddie. But obviously there's always that kind of King, Fraser, Wilson, who's going to fit in. Okay, dare I ask? Let's do head versus heart predictions, Jeff, for this one.
Well, Head says we'll probably end up on the wrong end of a 3 or 4-0. However, I had a dream last night, and it gets to the 80th minute. Ramsdale's pulled off some blinding saves from the 3 or 4 chances that Liverpool have managed to create all game. And then we get a free kick. Adam Smith falls over and gets one of those, you know what I'm saying. And ball goes in, and it gets flicked on by Ake, and at the back post is Josh King to sweep it in, and we win 1-0.
Adam Smith falling over? Never. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Liverpool, but if I'm feeling optimistic on Bournemouth's part, I'm going to go for a 1-1. Feels like a long time since we've had a 0-0, so it could be one of them maybe. I think Watford away. I can't remember if we've had many 0-0s, but anyway, Jeff, once again, mate, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sam. Pleasure to be here.
And let us know your predictions as well. Put them in the comments below. Love to hear what you got to say, and what team do you think we should be putting out there. Going to be a tough one. If you're travelling up, safe journeys. I'm going to be in Liverpool all weekend actually, so if you fancy a beer, just give me a text and we'll go out and celebrate our 1-0 win. If Jeff's right, we will anyway. Anyway, up the cherries, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, Sam.
Back in the day!